You think you're just tired. But what if you're not tired at all? What if you're empty? Not because you did nothing, but because none of it was truly yours. Imagine finishing your day and realizing you can't name a single moment you actually chose for yourself. The ancient Greeks feared this more than death. Not failure, not pain, but living an entire life on autopilot, and only noticing when it's already gone. The Klepsydra, the ancient water clock, never rushed you. It never judged you for your delays or your indecision. It just kept taking, one precious drop at a time. Marcus Aurelius would sit before dawn, staring at this truth. Time doesn't care what you meant to do. It only records what you did. And here's the tension. You don't lose your life all at once. You lose it quietly, in small, unrecoverable moments you never even noticed you were spending. You're moving all day. Emails, messages, meetings about meetings. It feels like progress, but nothing actually moves. Here's the contradiction. You're exhausted. Yet nothing meaningful was built. This isn't laziness. It's something worse. You're performing a life instead of living one. And the scariest part? Everyone around you is doing the exact same thing, so it feels normal. Zeno of Citium didn't hide from distraction. He built his philosophy right in the middle of it. In noise, in interruption. And still, he saw clearly what most people miss. That urgency is often just noise wearing a mask. But here's the question that unsettles everything. If most of what feels so urgent isn't actually real, then what have you been giving your precious life to? Your day doesn't start when you wake up, it starts when you react. Before you even think, you've already handed control away. Messages, feeds, other people's priorities. Epictetus warned about this long before smartphones existed. Not the device, the surrender. And here's the shift. If your first action isn't chosen, how many of the next ones are? The Stoics weren't passive. They acted constantly. But they drew a brutal line. Action you choose versus action that happens to you. Most people never notice the difference. Their days just fill up, quietly, automatically. Until one day there's no room left to ask a dangerous question. Did you build your life, or did it just accumulate around you? You call it caring, staying informed, staying responsive. The Greeks had a word, apatheia, not indifference, control. The ability to decide what deserves your attention. Here's the contradiction. You feel engaged with everything, but owned by all of it. And if everything controls you, then who exactly is living your life? Every morning, Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, not for the world, not for legacy, just to confront one question: what am I doing? Because what isn't examined quietly takes over. You don't drift into a bad life. You drift into an unexamined one. And by the time you notice, it already feels permanent. You think your problem is too much to do. It's not. It's that nothing gets removed. Adding tasks is easy. Questioning them, that's hard. Because it forces a decision. Does this deserve your life? And most people avoid that question entirely. So the list grows. The days fill. And meaning slowly disappears beneath everything you never stop to challenge. The Greeks revered something you've been taught to avoid: stillness, skole, time to think without purpose. Not laziness, not escape, clarity. Imagine doing nothing and calling it the highest form of living. Now ask yourself, when was the last time you sat in silence without reaching for something to fill it? Your mind can stay busy forever, spinning, reacting, generating noise. But here's the truth. Movement isn't direction. Seneca said it plainly. Being everywhere is the same as being nowhere. And if that's true, then what happens when you realize you've been everywhere all day? Seneca had power, influence, status, and still he saw through it. Not instantly, slowly, painfully. He realized he had spent years performing importance. Then one day it cracked. And underneath wasn't success, it was someone he hadn't met in a long time, himself. So here's the uncomfortable question. If everything stopped, would you recognize who's left? This isn't failure. That's the trap. You're not doing anything wrong. And that's exactly why it continues. The Stoics wouldn't judge you. They'd ask something sharper. Do you know what you're doing right now? Because the line between rest and avoidance isn't what it looks like. It's whether you're aware of it. Empires collapse, slowly, then all at once. The Romans knew this. They watched it happen. And still, they worried about deadlines, status, control. Meanwhile, the olive tree kept growing. No urgency, no panic, just time. Here's the shift. The world doesn't need your anxiety to continue, but your life might depend on noticing that. You keep moving so you don't have to feel. That's the hidden engine. Because if you stop, questions show up. About your work, your choices, your direction. The Stoics called it amor fati, facing reality without distraction, not escaping it. And here's the tension. What you're avoiding isn't the problem. Avoiding it is. The silence you avoid already knows the answer. That's why it unsettles you. It doesn't shout, it waits. And each time you fill your day to escape it, it grows stronger, until it asks what would matter if everything else were stripped away. This moment, this pause, you call it confusion. But it's not. It's friction. And friction is where clarity begins. Marcus Aurelius believed the obstacle isn't blocking you. It is the path. So what if this emptiness you feel isn't a problem? What if it's the first honest signal you've had in years? The Greeks trained mind and body together, not for appearance, for alignment. They called it arete, full expression of who you are. But you can't express something you've never defined. And here's the conflict. You've optimized your life without ever deciding what it's for. This is it, not the big moments. This one, quiet, unavoidable. The question finally arrives. Was any of today actually yours? And if the answer is no, nothing external fixes that. But something else does. Choice. Tomorrow morning, it resets. The same moment returns. And this time, you'll see it. Socrates said the examined life isn't comfortable. He died for that belief. But here's what he understood. You don't lose your life because you're busy. You lose it because you're not awake. And everything trying to distract you depends on that. So here's what remains. Not a rule, not a system, just a moment. In the middle of your next day, pause and ask one question. If this hour never came back, would you still spend it this way? That's where it changes. Not all at once, but deliberately. The Stoics didn't find peace. They built it, one decision at a time.